What's up, gang? My name's Jason and you're watching Over 40 Fitness TV. One of the top questions I get from friends and family is, how do you get started running? And of course, the common sense answer to that question is you just go out for a run. But if you're like where I was back in 2014 and you don't have any running experience, or maybe you haven't exercised in a long time, the concept of just going for a run is easier said than done. So in this video, I want to share with you the tools and strategies that I used to get started back in 2014 and the tools and strategies I used to stay motivated in 2020. But before we get started, if you hear something in this video and you think to yourself, hey, I kind of like what that guy has to say, would you be so kind as to hit the like button down below this video? That tells YouTube to put this video in front of other people who also might like what I have to say, and it really helps the channel out. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. So again, if you're like me and you don't come from a running background, or maybe you haven't exercised in a while, the concept of just going out for a run is easier said than done. So back in 2014, when I started my running journey, I was actually starting from a place where I had tried previously and had started and failed multiple times. So when I started seeing friends and family members finishing half marathons and full marathons, I thought to myself, if that's a goal I really want to accomplish, then I need to get serious with my training. So I did a little bit of research and I came across this training plan that a lot of people were using and still use today. It's actually one of the most popular running plans to get people from zero running to actually finishing a race, and it's called Couch to 5K. It was developed back in 1996 as a way to literally get couch potatoes off of their butt and finishing a 5-kilometer race, which is 3.1 miles, over the course of 9 weeks. So I adopted that program, and if you go search the app stores, there are a lot of different apps that have incorporated this Couch to 5K plan into their app. The app that I used was called Run Double, and I've placed a link for it down in the description below if you want to check it out. What I liked about Run Double is that the user interface was just incredibly simple. But no matter which app you use, they're all going to use the same base program, maybe little tweaks here and there, but the biggest difference you're going to see is just in the graphics and the user interface. So pick an app that works for you. But back to the Couch to 5K program. It's a 9-week program that takes you from being a couch potato to finishing a 5-kilometer race. And it's really kind of broken up into 3-week segments. You do 3 runs a week, and the first 3 weeks, you're actually doing more walking than running. The second 3 weeks, you're actually kind of doing a mixture between walking and running. And then of course, the final 3 weeks, you're doing more running than walking. And the whole thing culminates with a 5-kilometer run at the end of 9 weeks. And they recommend that you actually do that in the course of a live race and not just going out for a 5-kilometer run in your neighborhood. So that was my first 5K race, basically a victory lap of finishing the Couch to 5K program back in 2014. Now I'm going to be honest with you, if you're going from no running background or you haven't exercised in a long time, just be prepared. It hurts. The picture that you're seeing on the screen right now is actually me after that first 5K race, and my shins were actually killing me. And I think I slept the rest of the day after that race was over. But the longer you stick with it, the more your body starts to adapt and it doesn't hurt as much, but it will hurt in the beginning stages. But don't worry, in this Couch to 5K program, the first 3 weeks, you really will be doing more walking than running. And the most you're gonna go is maybe 1.5 miles or 2 miles. Once I finished Couch to 5K, I actually moved on to another program called runcoach.com. I'll talk about it in a future video, but it's just such a great program to prepare you for any race that you want to run. So the first thing you need to do is find a quality training program and stick with it. Now, let's head back to the house, get cleaned up, and we'll talk about some other things you can do to get started as a runner. So once you've found a good training plan, the next thing I highly recommend you do is put some skin in the game and actually register for a race. You may be saying to yourself, Jason, isn't that putting the cart before the horse? Well, not exactly. You see, studies show that when we invest in something, it actually becomes a lot more meaningful to us. So when you take your hard-earned money and you invest it into a race registration, suddenly your training becomes a lot more meaningful to you and thereby becomes a lot more productive to you. And it's not just a daily grind that you're trying to accomplish. A friend once told me, always be registered for a race. And that's been my strategy. Ever since I started my training, I've always been registered for a race. Now I realize that in this day and age with the pandemic going on, there's not a lot of races happening. And in fact, a lot of the big fall racers are already being canceled. But there are some small races that are going to start coming back this fall, and there's going to be a lot of local 5K races that are going to come back. And so I encourage you to find one that you like, that you want to strive for as a goal, and then back up 9 weeks and start your Couch to 5K program at that point, so that by the time the 5K gets there, you'll be totally prepared. The last thing I highly recommend you do if you want to get started with running is to invest in some basic gear. And this includes shoes, socks, shorts, and a shirt. One of the mistakes I made early on was going to my closet to prepare for my first run and just pulling out an old cotton shirt, an old pair of gym shorts, and some cotton socks, and a pair of gym shoes that I had laying around the house. The problem with wearing cotton shirts and cotton socks and cotton shorts is that if you look at a microscopic image of cotton, it actually has these little barbs and abnormalities on it that scrape at your skin, and over time, as you're running and you get sweaty, this gear just scrapes up against you and it tears your skin and it causes chafing. And chafing is absolutely one of the worst things about running. Another downfall of wearing cotton clothes is that when cotton gets sweaty, it gets very heavy, which actually makes your running effort that much harder. Another mistake I made was with shoes, and I made 2 different mistakes on that level. The first one, like I said, was going to my closet and just getting a pair of old gym shoes, and after like 2 runs, my feet were killing me, my joints were killing me, and my muscles were hurting in ways they shouldn't have. So I went to my local running store and I went straight to the clearance rack, and I looked for a pair of shoes, a brand of shoes that I knew other runners were wearing, and I picked the least expensive box off the table, walked out, and went home. After about 2 or 3 weeks of running with those shoes, again, the foot pain came back, the joint pain came back, and the muscle pain came back. So after those 2 hard lessons, I went back to my running store, and this time I got properly fit for the right running shoes, and I also picked up a pair of shorts, a pair of socks, and a shirt. So my recommendation is go find a running store in your community, and if you don't have a running store, go to a sporting goods store or even check online, but get a pair of shoes that fit you good. And we're gonna talk about that in a future video, how to get properly fitted for shoes, but go get yourself a pair of shoes that fit you well and that aren't gonna cause you any pain. And while you're there, pick up a pair of shorts, a pair of socks, and a shirt that's specifically made for running and made out of a technical fabric that not only won't scrape your body up and cause chafing, but it'll also help wick the sweat away, and it won't be as heavy when it gets wet and sweaty. Listen, running is a fascinating sport. No matter the age you are, everybody can get started with running, whether you're a front of the pack runner, a super fast person, or you're a slow person, you're a back of the pack, or even just a middle of the pack guy like me. Running provides so many benefits, not just health benefits, but mental benefits. But also the running community is just a great community to be a part of. Everybody is supportive and encouraging, and everybody is chasing their own personal goals, as opposed to this competition that you do see at the elite level, but in the rest of us in this age group level, everybody's really supportive and cheering on one another. Of course, you'll find some bad apples every now and then. They exist in every batch, but by and large, the running community is one of the best communities I've ever been a part of, and has been so encouraging to me in my journey of health and fitness. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you learned from some of my mistakes and maybe even picked up some new tips along the way. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, and if you know of anybody who wants to get started running as well, make sure you share this video with them. Have a great day.